Welcome to this explainer. Okay, picture this because almost every single business owner or creator goes through this incredibly frustrating moment at some point. You've just spent weeks, maybe even months, pouring your time, your budget, and a whole lot of late nights into launching a beautiful brand new website. The design is absolutely flawless, the copy is sharp, everything is finally live. So you excitedly open a new tab, you Google your own business name expecting to see your shiny new listing right at the top, and absolutely nothing. Your brand new digital storefront is literally a complete ghost on Google. You stare at the search bar, maybe hit refresh a few times, right? And immediately that sinking feeling sets in. You start asking yourself, where is my website? Did my developer mess something up? Did I somehow break the internet? Look, we're validating this anxiety right out of the gate because it's a completely normal reaction. Even seasoned pros experience this exact moment of panic. But here's the really fantastic news. Being invisible on day one is incredibly common, it's almost always completely fixable, and it absolutely doesn't mean you've done anything wrong during your launch. So, to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, we're going to follow a quick diagnostic roadmap. We'll start with indexing versus ranking, then check for technical ailments, move right into content and keyword strategy, explore digital authority, and finally, give you a clear-cut treatment plan. All right, first up, indexing versus ranking. This is the absolute core concept we have to clear up before anything else. See, there's a massive foundational misunderstanding between Google simply knowing you exist and Google actually caring that you exist. Think of Google as this near infinite global library. Being indexed simply means Google has accepted your pages and added them to its enormous database. It knows you're in the building. But, just being in an infinite library guarantees absolutely zero foot traffic. You could be tucked away on shelf 4 million down in the basement. Being ranked, however, means your site actually shows up when someone searches for a related topic. It means you're that featured, highly recommended book sitting right on the display table, under the spotlight, on page 1. Most new websites, they're just sitting in the dusty back corners of that massive library, waiting to be found. So, how do we find out if you're at least in the building? Well, try this incredibly simple trick for a quick pulse check. Open Google and type site, followed immediately by your website domain, like siteyourdomain.com. No spaces. If your pages pop up, great, you're indexed. If absolutely nothing shows up, well, Google's digital robots haven't even found and crawled your pages yet. And while that's a great quick check, you really should set up a free tool called Google Search Console. If the site search is checking your pulse, Google Search Console is literally an MRI machine for your website. It gives you deep diagnostics on exactly how Google's bots are interacting with your pages. But what if those bots are blocked entirely? Let's move to technical ailments and look at your foundational layer. Because if bots can't get in or your site is crawling at a snail's pace, honestly, nothing else matters. Sometimes the issue is purely mechanical. First off, your site might just be too new. The internet is huge, and it can take days or even weeks for bots to crawl a fresh domain. But let's look at some sneaky culprits. During the build phase, developers often use a tiny snippet of code called a no-index tag. Think of it like a giant digital tarp thrown over your website while it's under construction, so nobody sees the mess. The problem? Well, sometimes they just forget to take the tarp off on launch day. Another one is a misconfigured robots.txt file. This is basically an instruction manual for Google's bots. If it's set up wrong, it acts like a locked deadbolt, explicitly telling Google to stay away. Beyond locked doors and digital tarps, we have to talk about performance. Almost everyone browses on their phones now, not laptops. Google knows this, and their main goal is keeping users happy. If Google sends someone to your site and you've got massive, uncompressed images taking 10 seconds to load, or the buttons are way too tiny to tap on a smartphone, that user is going to get frustrated and bounce right back to Google. Google sees that rapid exit, decides your site is a terrible experience, and just drops your rank. So testing your site with a free tool like Google PageSpeed Insights and simply topping through it on your own phone is an absolutely mandatory health check. Okay, transitioning away from the robots, let's talk about the human element, content and keyword strategy. Are you actually answering the right questions? Google isn't just checking if your website works technically, it's rigorously checking if you answer the searcher's query. If your homepage is super vague and just says something like, "Welcome to our company," with a couple of generic sentences, you've got a massive problem. Google cannot read your mind. It needs clear text to understand who you help and what you do. Another brutal mistake is confusing duplicate pages, like having a www version and a non-www version of your site live at the exact same time without a redirect. Google actually sees these as two totally different websites competing against each other. You're basically having your own digital authority. And speaking of competing, It's so tempting to try and rank for massive, broad terms. Say you're a designer. You might think, I want to rank for logo design. But that competition is fierce. You're fighting global giants. Now compare that to a long-tail keyword strategy, like logo design for small businesses in Manchester. The competition is dramatically lower. And think about the psychology here. Someone typing that super specific phrase, they know exactly what they want. They have their wallet out and they are ready to hire. The person just searching logo design might just be looking for a free template. You've got to stop fighting the biggest battles and start fighting the smartest, highest intent ones.
Next up is digital authority and the incredible power of backlinks.
Once your technicals and your content are sorted, we have to look outside your website at how the wider internet actually views you. This whole concept revolves around backlinks, links from other websites pointing back to yours. They are literally little votes of trust. Think of backlinks as the currency of the internet. A link from a highly respected trade association, a university, or local newspaper. That's like a crisp $100 bill. It signals to Google that you're a highly respected resource. A link from a spammy directory, though, worth pennies. Setting up a Google business profile or asking partners to link to your site are fantastic first steps to building that wealth. Because if nobody on the internet links to you, Google has no reason to think you're important yet.
All right, let's wrap this all up into something actionable. Here is the treatment plan.
Instead of randomly guessing why you aren't ranking, run through this methodical checklist. Step 1, do that site:/yourdomain.com search to see if you're even in the building. Step 2, open Google Search Console to find hidden errors. Step 3, run your homepage through PageSpeed Insights so big images don't cause bounces. Step 4, physically test the site on your phone. Step 5, rigorously check your content. Would a total stranger know what you do instantly? And step 6, check your backlinks to see if you have any of those little votes of trust. Working through these 6 steps will instantly reveal your specific bottleneck. Now, a quick reality check on the timeline. Realistically, if you put in the work, it takes 3 to 6 months of consistent effort to see meaningful movement. Why? It's something called the Google Sandbox. Google intentionally makes new domains wake to ensure you aren't some fly-by-night spam operation. Knowing this right now prevents you from giving up on day 30 when things still seem quiet. Google isn't being slow just to torture you, I promise. It's exactly like building a real-world business. It takes time to build a physical storefront's reputation and earn community trust. Your digital storefront requires that exact same patience. The businesses that eventually dominate page 1 just make small, steady improvements. Tweaking a page here, earning a backlink there, and those micro actions compound beautifully over time. So if your new site is currently a ghost, take a deep breath. You now have a clear path forward. My question to you is this: which of those 6 diagnostic steps will you check on your website today? Stop guessing, run through this framework, and start telling Google exactly why you deserve to be seen. What's your very first move going to be?